22 testimony. This is G. Anthony. He is recalled back on the stand.
Why?
Good morning, Mr. Anthony.
Good morning.
I want to speak to you today about the date of June 24th of 2008.
This is the prosecutor.
On that particular date, were you home in the morning of that day?
Yes.
Now, was your schedule on that date different than on a normal workday?
Yes, I had made some plans to do a couple things around the house, meet my wife to deposit a check, and go to a job interview later that afternoon.
So you weren't working your normal 3 to 11 shift on that day?
No, I had called the company I was presently working for and told them I needed the time off to take care of a personal matter.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I was very confused as well because there was some searches that happened on the computer and it happened at like 2:50-ish or something regarding foolproof suffocation. And I thought it was really interesting because they said that George was at work and then it changed to his testimony saying that he was at work from 3 to 11 and I was confused by that. So now we're clarifying a little bit. So George was not at work, working his normal shift from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Okay, we're writing some notes here. We are writing some notes here.
Was that a day that you normally would have been working?
Yes.
So, on the 24th, did you have occasion to attempt to do some yard maintenance work?
Yes, shortly after 10 o'clock in the morning, yes.
When you got up to prepare for that, what did you do?
Well, like any other time, I go to my side shed, which is on the south side of my home. And as I walked down towards the shed to open up the door, I found that the lock had been broken.
Wait, what day is this? Now I'm confused. Sparks is a female standard. Wait, silver? Real is a rescue. He's a mud, probably part lab, shepherd, and greyhound. Oh, thank you so much for the 5, by the way. I do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Wait, what day are we talking about? June 24. June 24. When did Kaylee go missing? Do I have it in my notes?
Please display for the witness. This will be State's Exhibit LJ for identification. I'll show it to counsel. No, I don't.
June 16.
Do you recognize this, Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Do you recognize this to be a diagram of your home and the surrounding property, particularly the backyard?
Yes.
Wait, I'm a little confused.
So, on the 24th, did you have occasion to attempt to do some yard maintenance work?
Oh, okay. So we're talking about 2 different days. Okay, that's why
Yep.
I'm confused.
Okay, so that's the one at the bottom right corner of the diagram.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's just orient a couple of the things here since we've got
Shortly after 10 o'clock in the morning, yes. Deposit a check.
different than on a normal.
Yes.
Now, was your schedule on that date?
When, why?
Good morning, Mr. Anthony.
Good morning.
I want to speak to you today about the date of June 24th of 2008. On that particular date, were you home in the morning of that day?
Yes.
Oh, he doesn't change his story. Sorry. This is June 24. The whole thing is June 24. I'm getting really confused.
Was your schedule on that date different than on a normal workday?
Yes, I had made some plans to do a couple things around the house, meet my wife to deposit a check, and go to a job interview later that afternoon.
So you weren't working your normal 3 to 11 shift on that day?
No, I had taken.
Okay, because I was like, is he changing his story? But no, I was getting confused. I was getting confused.
Touch the screen and make a little circle. Just circle which. And I'd like to publish to the jury and allow the witness to use it to explain.
You may publish it to the jury.
This judge
All right,
is
sir.
so monotone.
As you're going through and telling us stuff, I want you to just kind of be able to refer to the diagram,
To
okay?
the jury.
So you said you went out to the shed which contained your, I guess, lawn equipment.
Lawn equipment,
Okay.
yes.
Could you just, and I think you should be able to touch the screen and make a little circle, just circle which shed that is. Okay, so that's the one at the bottom right corner of the diagram.
Show us, show us, show us, show us. I want to see
Now,
that.
let's just orient a couple of the things here since we've got the diagram up. There's an item up on the top right that says Playhouse. What is that?
That's Kaylee's playhouse. That's that we got for her just prior to her second birthday.
All right. And obviously, there's a circular item that says pool.
Oh, what is this?
Is that an above-ground pool?
Yes.
What's with this grade?
And the two items that are shed on the left, those are sheds holding different purposes?
The one shed we have our bicycles inside, rafts for the beach. The other one just has some other miscellaneous plant things, things for our pool, just
All right. And
miscellaneous items.
the patio that's depicted here, is that a enclosed screen patio?
It's an enclosed screen patio.
All right. So you go out to the shed to start your lawn work. What do you find?
I find that the lock had been broken off of the shed. The right side door was partially open, about 2 or 3 inches.
And what type of shed is this? Is it a wood shed, metal shed, plastic shed?
It's plastic fiberglass. Rubbermaid is the brand of it.
Okay.
Yeah, the
One of
duct
those you can
tape.
like buy at Home Depot or Lowe's and
Yes.
put together. All right. So what kind of lock was on it?
Just a small, like a master key type lock, nothing extravagant at all. I just took one key to open it up.
And was the lock still on it, but was the lock itself broken, or the sort of the shed latch was broken? What was
Well,
broken?
the shed had like a 2 eyelet plastic connection that went to it, and I just slid the lock itself between it just to lock it.
Okay, sort of a hole in each door, you stick the lock through
Right.
the middle.
Yes, sir.
And was the shed part broken or the lock itself broken?
Just the shed part, just the plastic eyelet pieces were broken.
All right, so did you open the shed to see if anything, pardon me, if anything was missing?
Well, first thing I opened up the shed and looked to the right, I automatically seen the lock itself. The lock was inside of the shed, which I thought was somewhat unusual. And I just did a quick scan, and I seen the lawnmower was there, other tools and stuff that I'd be using, the blower, the edger, also a generator I have in there. And I looked over to my left, where
Man,
I
I
kept
wish-
the gas
I wish
cans
you
up
took the
above
stand.
the ground, and both gas cans were gone.
Now, were any of the actual power tools missing? The lawnmowers, edgers, any of that more expensive
No,
stuff?
they were not, which I found somewhat unusual,
So just the gas cans?
just the gas cans.
Okay, so what did you do in response to that?
Well, first took a step back and just shook my head and wondered, okay, why just take the gas cans?
Okay.
When there was other things more valuable to me, inside there.
Sure.
I immediately just went and I said, well, I need to make a report on this because, again, this could be conceived as hearsay, but neighbors do talk, and we know that there's been minor thefts, gas taken from vehicles, so on and so forth in the area.
All right.
So I just thought, well, I'll at least call and make a
I wonder if it was
report.
Casey, the one that was
If the
stealing
gas cans
from
are
the
ever found and
neighborhood.
make a description of them, I'll get them back.
You know, during the 31 days
And
that
did
she
you,
was
what agency did you?
during the 31 days that she was like out partying or whatever while her daughter was missing, she also had stolen a checkbook from a friend, and she was stealing money from her friend and like spending it. I think that
Oh.
was in the dock.
I called the Orange County Sheriff's Department because we're in their jurisdiction.
And approximately what time of the day would this have been?
I'm going to say it was probably close to maybe 10:30 in the morning, and I know within about 10 minutes after making the initial report, I had a deputy show up to my house.
Okay. It's just more than one deputy or just?
Just one deputy came to our front curb area. Very nice gentleman. I explained to him what happened, and he explained that there have been thefts in the neighborhood,
Okay.
things like that.
Did you make a report, fill out paperwork to make a report of the
I
theft?
finished, I filled out a report, signed it, gave a brief description of what the gas cans looked like. He said, is there a value on them? And I said, probably in the same neighborhood, maybe between gas and the gas cans replacement, maybe $50. I said, could be more, could be a little bit less, but at least that.
And did he make an extensive investigation, dust for fingerprints, take DNA samples, anything like that?
No, he just said he would make the report. He would go ahead and have it available for me if I want to stop by.
Sustain.
All right. So how long was the deputy there?
5-10 minutes. It wasn't a real long report.
Garage, patio.
And did he
of the
leave you some
shed.
paperwork to document that you had made the report?
Yes.
All right. So what did you do about your plan to do yard work?
It seems like the house is.
Well, I sort of had to
the
put
shed
that
is
on
right
hold
near,
because I knew I'd have to go out and
Casey's
purchase
room,
new
right?
gas cans to get the job done.
Did you actually go out and buy new gas cans at that point?
Yes, I went out and bought 2 more plastic gas cans, but I also went and alerted my next door neighbor, the Bruner residents, who just had moved in just about 3 years prior to that.
That would be Mr. Berner?
Yes,
Brian
was here
Berner?
yesterday.
All right. So did you get your lawn mowed
Pardon me,
that
sir?
day? Did you get your lawn mowed that day?
As a matter of fact, I did not get my lawn mowed that day.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Did there come a
footage.
point in time, up until this point, from June 16th that we talked about previously to this date, June 24th, had you seen your daughter, Casey?
I can't remember seeing Casey come back, to our house at all. I don't remember seeing her from the last time I saw her on the 16th till I made the report.
So on the 24th, did you see your daughter?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Approximately what time was that?
Shortly after 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah, there were pictures of her. You can look it up online. It was like pictures of her like partying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now,
Getting a tattoo.
is that a time where on your normal
It's really weird
schedule
shit
you
that
would
you
have
would've did if
been
your kid was
already
missing.
on your way to work?
Within that 2 to 2:15 time, 2:15 p.m., I would have been leaving for work, yes.
But you were there because of the interview.
Yes, because my interview wasn't until 6 p.m. that evening.
So tell us what led up to your seeing Casey.
I was just inside my living room area. I just had come home after depositing a check with my wife at our local bank, and was just sort of easing into my thought process of what I was going to be doing. This interview, it was a great opportunity for me, and just trying to feel at ease for the next couple hours or so.
Sustain.
So you were in your living room.
Yes.
Okay. Just sort of put a little spot on your living room. I guess it's pretty obvious, but right there. Okay. So you're in your living room. Tell us about what happened next with you're seeing Casey.
Well, after being home just a few moments, I heard the garage door come up, and next thing I know, here's Casey coming in the house.
Now, was your car in the garage?
Yes.
All right. So you hear the door come up, and obviously your car is in there. So are you concerned at all about who's coming in the middle of the afternoon?
I was concerned because I knew it couldn't have been my wife because she'd still been working because I just had saw her previously. And
Okay. So when you first see Casey, let me just clear this diagram here.
His hair is white, eyebrows are blonde.
When you
I think
first
it
saw
just happens
Casey, where was she?
sometimes.
Just put a little circle on the diagram.
I first saw Casey just right near the front door area.
Right. And she was coming in from the garage through this. What is that room between the garage and the living room?
Wherever the AC unit is at, if I'm
Right.
at point right there, we have a little hallway that comes in from the garage.
And is that where she came through?
Yes.
Okay. Were you surprised to see her?
Yes, happy. I mean, I was glad to see my daughter. I haven't seen her for some time, and just
What was her reaction to seeing you?
somewhat of surprise on her part.
Now, pardon me. Tell me did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I did. I asked her how she was doing, what she's doing there. I asked, where's Kaylee? And she says, Dad, I only got 10 minutes. I got to get my clothes. I got to take off and go to work. I said, oh, okay. I mean, then I did ask some a little bit more about her and, schedule. I asked some a little bit more about Kaylee, where's she at? I haven't talked to her. We haven't seen her. Has Mom been talking to you? And she was a little evasive with me, but again, she said she had 10 minutes. I said, okay.
Did you just assume she was rushing somewhere?
She was rushing to get some clothes to go to work. And I said, okay.
Now, upon seeing Casey and upon what you told us about early in the morning, did you become to suspect that she might know something about these missing gas cans?
I have,
At this point, he hasn't seen his granddaughter in almost 10 days because the last time they see her was on June 16. At least he's seen her June 16.
felt on different occasions that
Right.
the
Yeah, it's
gas
June
cans
24.
or gas has been used without my knowledge from different times, and I was always just wondering, it just doesn't evaporate that quickly, especially when it's a concealed area that I have it in and locked and things like that.
Is she just stealing gas so she can save
I
money
did.
from pumping gas at the gas station?
Asked Casey about it,
Okay.
and she said, Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. And I says, well, it's really wild. As I said, I go to mow the grass this morning, and I said, I don't have any gas for the lawnmower and for the edger and stuff. She says, oh, Dad, she says, I don't know what to tell you. I said, okay. And I sort of just let it go for a moment. But then again, I've seen some indication on her car where there were like spill marks and stuff like that whenever,
You talk about in the past.
Wow.
in the past, yes.
Okay.
And I've seen spill marks on the particular Sunfire she has.
Well, I don't want to go too deep into why you were suspicious. The question, I guess the point was that you thought maybe she had taken the gas.
Yes.
All right. So what did you do in an effort to investigate that?
Well, I just wanted to, I guess, maybe conduct my own little, I don't want to say the word investigate, I just wanted to question her a little bit more about some things. So I decided, well, I was planning on that weekend changing the oil in my wife's car, rotating the tires. I do that stuff at our home. And inside of Casey's car and my wife's vehicle, I have these little metal triangular triangular things that you support with your tires with when you jack your car up that the car doesn't move. Well,
Sort of
Casey
like-
had one, and I put it back there, so I knew it should be there. And
Like
I
something to
wanted-
keep the car from sliding back while you're working
Yes.
on it? Okay.
So I inquired about going out and get it. I said, Casey, I said, I need to get something out of your car. Her conversation to me was, what do you want to get out of the car? I said, I said that little metal type block, that little triangular block. I said, I need that, again, like I said, to work on her mother's car for the weekend. Dad, I'll get it for you. I said, no, Casey, I know where it's at. I got an extra key. I'll just go out and get it.
So you had a key to her car.
Right, we've always kept at least 2 or 3 extra keys for each one of our vehicles in case we get locked out.
So you could have gone out and opened the trunk while she was getting ready or
Yes.
whatever. Okay.
So after just maybe a little bit of back and forth, talk here and there, I mean, it was very cordial, very nice. As I'm starting to walk down our little hallway to go out through the garage because the garage door is open, Casey just brushes past me very quickly, says, Dad, I'll get it. I'll get it out of the car. He says, Casey, I'm capable of going out and get it. So as she almost nearly runs to the back of her car, and I'm walking, just thinking, okay,
Oh, this must be the testimony that pisses off Casey. Oh my goodness. She must have been so pissed hearing the testimony that her dad gave.
here we go, a little funny time here between her and I. As I get towards the end of the car, right at the passenger rear, just where the taillight and stuff is at, Casey opens up the trunk, throws the trunk open, reaches in and grabs the gas cans. She said, here, I hate to say this, here's your fucking gas cans, and places them down on the ground and slams her trunk. I didn't know what to say at first. And I said, why? She says, I needed them. I've had,
Judge. Overruled.
Go ahead.
Dad, I needed them. I've been having problems with the car, so on and so forth. I said, this makes no sense to me. She says, well, I've been taking a trip. She said, I've been needing I run low on fuel. I don't have money or this.
I don't know, man. This is, oh God. Imagine just dealing with you let someone live in your house, you let them raise a family in your house. They're stealing shit from you. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know.
I said, whatever the reason is, I said, I don't want to get upset any more than I already am. I said, and you don't need to get upset before I go into work. I says, we'll talk later. So I picked up the gas cans and I went in to where my garage door was and I just set them on our little freezer that we had and just told Casey, I said, listen, we'll talk later. Because I was just,
But in his case,
I don't know, I guess the word mortified, I guess, could be.
it's
Like,
not easy
I know
for him to
in-
just
in the
kick her
past,
out because he loves
they
the
had been missing or
granddaughter.
used. And now finally, when I caught her with them.
Well,
it-
let me
it
stop you
hurt.
because I don't want to go too far into the past. Suffice it to say, you were a little annoyed
Yes.
about this. Okay. As you, the car, her car, was it in your garage or was it on the driveway?
Is in a driveway parked about right in the middle of the drive itself.
Now, when she opened the trunk, did you look in the trunk?
Never had a chance to.
Now, when you were standing there at the trunk, did you smell anything unusual?
The only smell that I had was the smell of gas from these gas cans. That's the only thing I had at the time.
Okay, that's the only thing you remember?
Yes.
All right. All right, so you got your gas cans back. What did Casey do then?
She abruptly got into her car, backed out of the driveway, and I didn't see her again.
Now, during any of these conversations with Casey, did you mention to her that you had called the police?
I had told her about that I had made a report, and she said, well, yeah, she says, I talked to Mom. Mom knows about it. I just, okay, Mom knows about it.
Had you told your wife during the interim hours about the gas cans and the police report and all
Well,
that?
right after I'd made the report with the sheriff's department, I called Cindy briefly, and I just it sort of made her chuckle for a second and made me sort of chuckle. I said, guess what? I said, someone broke into our shed and took our gas cans.
Okay. You said somebody broke in and you told her about the break-in.
Yes, I told Cindy about that, yes.
All right. Now, let me just. Okay, could I have State's Exhibit 8J, please? Is that one of the gas cans that we've been talking about here?
Yes,
Oh, why is there's
And,
duct tape on there?
It's an older metal gas can.
Why is there duct tape on
Yes.
the gas can? Though?
How long have you had it?
Oh, is it to cover the hole?
25 years at least that I've had it for quite some time.
Now, in this photograph, it has a piece of duct tape over over a portion of it. Do you see that?
Yes,
Now, was it your habit to place a piece of duct tape on this can for some reason?
the only reason that piece of duct tape is on there is because the plastic cap, it's a vent cap that is generally on any type of gas can or something like that to vent when you're pouring it out, was gone. When Casey brought those back to me, brought this one and the other smaller one back to me, it was gone. So I did place that particular one back on there because I didn't want a gas smell out in the shed or inside the house.
All right. May I have State's AK? And you see State's Exhibit AK, which is being shown to you. It's a photograph taken at a later time, obviously, but is that the other gas can we're talking about?
Yes, it is.
All right. Could I have a State's Exhibit? Let's see.
The Pontiac Sunfire is in my name and my wife's name. We have title to the vehicle.
And at the particular time that we're speaking of, which is June 24th, whose car was this as far as use and possession?
Was Casey's car.
No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Judge, we would request the morning recess at this time. If that's possible.
Okay.
Oh, lots of Disney ads. All right, guys, who's gonna go to Disneyland? Mm.
And in fact, you told her, if you need gas, I'll give you $10 for it. Don't take gas from my gas cans.
Let's see
Yes.
how he acts under cross-examination.
And it would
He was a little
upset
suited
you
last time.
that Casey would take gas from the gas cans prior to this ever happening.
Yes?
Now, on June 24th, you haven't seen your granddaughter for 9 days.
Yes.
And you lived with her all your life, all her life, rather.
Yes.
never went 24 hours without seeing her.
That, yes,
And on June 24th,
Okay, let's go off the record for a second and see what's going on.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Anthony, you stated the last time you saw your granddaughter was on June 16th, correct?
correct.
And on June 24th, you called the police.
Yes,
And you called the police to report gas cans missing,
yes,
not your granddaughter missing.
correct.
Is that a yes, sir?
My granddaughter was
Correct means
not
yes.
missing at that time.
My question to you is, not your granddaughter missing. Is that correct?
Overruled.
He literally said correct.
My granddaughter was not missing at that time.
I didn't
to my
ask you
knowledge.
that, sir. I asked you whether that you didn't call the police to report your granddaughter was missing on June 24th. Did you, sir?
I didn't call about my granddaughter being missing on the 24th of June.
So
I
the
called a
answer's-
reference to a gas cans being taken from my shed.
So the answer is yes.
Yes,
Now, when you had the police officer there,
Also, if he was involved in this crime, why would he call the police officer for gas cans missing and have them sniffing around the area, right? Like, that doesn't even make sense.
and you were talking about these gas cans,
If a crime just happened and you were involved in it, you wouldn't want the police
did you tell
anywhere
this
near your
police
house.
officer, my granddaughter's missing?
no,
Did you tell him, my daughter has been basically not telling me the truth as to where she is?
Objection, argumentative, assumes facts that are not in evidence.
Overruled at this point, Mr. Ashton.
Did you tell that to the deputy when he arrived?
no,
Did you tell the deputy, even though I'm reporting these gas cans missing, my daughter has been taking gas in the past?
no,
Did you tell the police officer, I even confronted my daughter about taking gas in the past?
no,
Did you call your daughter and ask her, hey, did you take gas?
no,
You didn't do any of those things.
did not.
Instead, you picked up the phone and called the police.
Yes,
What was he trying to get at?
Now, this
And?
alleged argument that you had with her, you stated that she basically came in, was in a hurry,
yes,
and she told you she had to go to work.
yes,
And you told her you needed to get something out of her trunk.
yes,
And she didn't want you near her trunk.
yes,
And she opened the trunk,
yes,
and you didn't smell anything.
yes, didn't smell anything.
And and you said, I hate to say this, here's your fucking gas cans. You said that, right?
That's what she said to me.
But that's what you testified to.
Yes,
Now, when she gave you these gas cans, they did not have any duct tape on it, did they?
had no duct tape whatsoever.
And before that, actually, you could see in her trunk, could you not?
I could not.
Well, the reason why the trunk is going to be brought up a couple times is because the mom, when they found the car at the impound, she said that the car smelled like as if there was a dead body in it, and she's a nurse. Not only that, I think the police officers that showed up said the same thing. They had a cadaver dog as well. But there were some weird things going on with the cadaver dog. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just taking the word of what the person said in the doc. They said that the dog the dog indicated that there was a dead body and then came back around again and like didn't indicate it or something weird like that. But I think even he said it as well, that it smelled like there was a dead body in it, and he's a police officer. So police officer, nurse, like you would think they would know what a dead body might possibly smell like. You would think they would at least encounter it once in their careers before.
I'd like to refer counsel to Bates, page 7921.
Yeah, I mean, so far I do get genuine vibes from him, but we'll see.
One more time. When you speak, speak into a microphone. Walking around and talking, the court reporter cannot hear you. So if you're
Jose hates this judge, man. This judge has been reprimanding him for like everything.
not at the podium, you're not with a microphone on, do not speak. You may continue.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anthony, do you recall giving a statement to the FBI on July 30th of 2008?
I don't remember the exact date, but I talked to the FBI and
You
numerous
talked to
times.
an agent, Scott Boland.
The judge is.
Do you remember speaking to agent?
I remember.
I mean, maybe Jose Baez has done this a couple of times. The judge just had it at this point, or maybe the judge is kind of a little, he's kind of a dick or something.
Who Scott Boland is, yes.
And do you
So I
recall?
feel like he could just be like, "Oh, please speak into the microphone." But again, if Jose Baez has done this like 20 times already, then I could see why the judge might be irate.
That they videotaped you?
I'm sure we were videotaped numerous times, yes.
And page 44, line 21 and 22.
Find it.
Yes, sir.
May
Can
proceed.
everyone
When
speak into
Agent
the
Scott,
microphone?
do you recall Agent Scott Bowling saying, okay, when she popped the trunk, were you back at the back of the car? And you answered, yeah, there was definitely, I could see clothes back there. Do you recall making that statement, sir?
I don't recall making that statement, but presumably, I guess.
Judge Benny was so polite though, but like I think at some point she started getting irritated because Elaine just kept doing it.
I did if it's written down there in written word.
Elaine.
So your testimony under direct examination that you couldn't see what was in the trunk of the car was not true, sir.
Objection.
Ooh, why not?
Overruled.
Overruled.
You may answer.
I don't recall exactly if I saw clothes in their car or not. I was at the passenger rear corner of the car when Casey pulled the gas cans out.
You know that the trunk of this car is an issue in this case, do you not, sir?
Absolutely, I know that.
And you know, by coming and testifying for the prosecution, that you couldn't see in the trunk of the car would give the impression that you weren't close enough to smell it.
Objection.
Don't you, sir?
Argumentative.
Sustain this to that question.
If you testified, sir, under direct that, well, strike that. Mr. Anthony, you actually were close enough to smell the trunk of that car, were you not?
The only smell that I had was of smell of gas cans when they're placed on the ground in front of me.
And you did not smell any smell of human decomposition on June 24th of 2008 in the trunk of your daughter's car?
Did not.
Now, you just testified that
He's
when
kinda
Casey
scary.
gave you the
He's kind of intimidating. Because he'll do like the blank stares, yes or no.
gas cans, it did not have duct tape on it, correct?
If you're, which one are you talking about, sir? There's two of them.
When she said, here's your fucking gas cans, it did not have duct tape on it.
Which one are you referring to?
Neither. Neither one of the gas cans had duct tape on it.
His eyes are scary.
Again, you're not being specific with me. I'm not trying to be argumentative, sir. You're not being specific with me.
Wait, where's George getting at here? I'm a little confused, George. Did either of the gas cans have duct tape on them? What's going on? How did the baby know? They don't really know. So like they were not able to determine the cause of death. This story, I don't know, there's been a lot of theories, but her defense team at trial during opening introduced, the baby accidentally drowned in the family pool. Now there's a documentary that's out with Casey on it, and she said that could never happen because the ladder was not on the pool. You can't get it in and out of the pool without a ladder. And why the hell would the baby go into the ladder? She's 2 years old, right? So we don't really know. Some people theorize that maybe it was like suffocation. They thought it was chloroform because what showed up in the search results. But then the mom said that she was actually searching for chlorophyll and an autocorrected chloroform. And yeah, we don't know. We don't know. Hi, Chai. Oh, look, Chai, you're a member. Hello, welcome. We have members in the chat now. You guys have your little baby badges, and then you have your little emotes and stuff. You're welcome, Elron. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in. I'll do my best to answer it. Or someone in the chat will. Thank you. What's Jose doing? Why is he looking around like that? This is so awkward. Are they doing like a sidebar?
Can you see on your screen
Yes.
that gas can?
Yes, sir. And if you would describe that as being one that was a cylinder shape,
Right.
I would agree with you. We wouldn't have had this little
Okay.
moment.
Is that clear enough for you?
Yes, sir.
That did not have duct tape on it, did it not?
When my daughter gave it back to me that day on the 24th outside in our our driveway area, it did not have a piece of duct tape on it.
And we're clear about that.
Yes.
Crystal clear.
Objection. Argumentative, asked and answered.
Sustain.
Now, Mr. Anthony, this photograph was taken by law enforcement, was it not?
Crystal clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now, she
It was
gave
gifted.
this gas can back to you on the 24th, correct?
Yes.
Now, the reason you call the police
Talking to the
is
microphone.
because
You're going to get in
you had to mow
trouble.
your lawn,
Yes.
and there was no gas.
Yes.
And between the 24th of June and August 1st, you had to cut your grass.
Probably did.
In fact, you're pretty religious about it. You cut your grass every week.
Could. Not every week, every other week, every 10 days. It just depends.
What are we getting at here? What do you think? He's going to pull up a testimony. It says here that you mow your grass every week. But what are we getting at?
Referring to the deposition, Mr. Anthony's deposition. Oh, August 5th, 2009, counsel? Okay. Page 199, lines 14 through 17. Mr. Anthony, do you recall making this?
Your Honor, if I may just
Yes.
have a moment to look at it?
Sure.
Just a
Thank you.
second.
May I continue, Your Honor?
What
I would
page?
object.
Page
Just a
199.
second. What page?
Page 199.
Line what?
Lines 12 through 17.
Hold on a second. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Just a second. Okay,
Mr. Anthony,
what's the objection?
It does not qualify as an inconsistent statement.
What's the statement?
12 through 17?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting.
Okay, let's approach the bench.
Oh, they're not. Wait. I don't know. I think that she literally did run out of gas and she was stealing gas from her parents to fill up her car. But I don't know. That could be a thing too, Jack.
You may proceed.
Mr. Anthony, you try to mow your lawn every week or at least every 10 days, do you not?
Yes,
And in fact, during that time period from June 24th to August 1st, you did mow your lawn.
I'll have to maybe agree.
Yeah, at some point though, apparently she did abandon the car and she got the car impounded. And there's been different theories as to why people think she did that. It could be like, oh, I did leave the car. I did run out of gas and I had to leave the car there. But I feel like if that happened to you, if you ran out of gas, what do? You hit up a friend. Hey, I ran out of gas. Your friend comes and brings you gas. Or you walk to a gas station, you buy some gas tank, fill it up, and then put some gas in there. Like, who just leaves the car there?
Or not agree with that. I'm not really sure. I don't write that stuff down on the calendar.
How many days is from, now, on June 24th, your lawn needed mowing, did it not?
Yes.
And that's why you were out looking for the gas cans. That's something funny, sir.
Your question is sort of funny to me. I mean, to have my mower run, it has to run on gas. So I'm just sort of just chuckling a moment about that. But yes, I'll agree. Yes, I mowed the grass. I wanted to mow the grass that day. I didn't have fuel for the lawnmower to mow it with.
So you mowed your lawn, obviously the grass was high on June 24th, enough to need mowing.
Yes.
And between June 24th and August 1st, that's 6-7 weeks, right?
No, sir. It's only a few days.
You forget the month of July?
No, starting it from month of July. You said weeks, sir, and first you brought it up to August 1st. It's a month, maybe 5 weeks. I'm sure I cut the yard sometime in July, end of June.
I'm so confused what's going on. But mowing the lawn every week sounds like ass. Get rid of your lawn and get the fake grass in. Hello?
May I ask the witness to stand down, Your Honor?
Witness may stand down. Okay. Make sure there's a break between the question and the answer, and make sure that the answer, the court reporter can hear it. Please face the court reporter when talking.
Your Honor, could I ask Mr. Bias to step to the side so that I can see what's being...
You may want to move so you can see.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can you please put down the date that you last saw Kaylee?
Wow, it's just like the movies. Okay.
Can you please mark the day you needed to cut your grass?
Okay, over a week later.
And then can you please put police report on the 24th, the same day?
Okay. You want this planner because your eyes, your eyesight sucks. Get it on sale at Home Depot. Or not Home Depot, sorry, Office Depot.
Can you please mark the date you informed law enforcement of this gas can incident with your daughter?
Your Honor, counsel has placed the July over the June, so we can't mark the June date because July is up.
It's already been marked.
I apologize, maybe I'm missing the question. The question was the day you informed law enforcement, which was, he just testified to June.
After your daughter, can you put down the date your daughter, your granddaughter was reported missing?
So did Baez ask the wrong question? July 15.
Can you put down the date you told law enforcement about this argument you had with Casey over the trunk and gas cans?
I don't know when I had given that information. I
Did
don't
they
know.
confiscate the gas cans immediately after you told them?
You'd have to come up with the dates, sir. I have no idea.
On August 1st, 2008, did law enforcement collect gas cans from your home?
Okay, we're getting
If I
at
might look
somewhere.
at
We
that
just don't know
photo, I can
where.
probably give you a better idea.
Yes, sir. If that refreshes your recollection, go ahead.
All right, Jose, where are you taking us? Where are we going with this, Jose?
That cylinder gas can on August 1st.
And on August, did you go with law enforcement to your home to collect the gas cans?
A second time I did, on another particular date. I'm not sure when that was.
When you told law enforcement of this argument, when was that?
I have no idea. I have no idea when we first discussed that. I don't have it. I'm not a human calendar. I don't have anything in front of me to show me. You might have that information, or the state might. I'm not trying to be argumentative, sir, but you're throwing stuff all over the place there.
On August 1st, July 30th, did you tell the FBI when you met with them about this incident with your daughter?
That's a possibility. I don't have the records in front of me. I don't have any indication of what I said at those different times.
I'll take that from you. You have a seat,
Yeah, I know that's why the tanks are important, but why? Well, what's the time frame though? What are they trying to establish with the time frame? Like, what does the time frame of the tanks
I'm not
have
a
to
judge.
do with the
Okay.
duct tape?
You may.
Okay, now what?
Showing you, Mr. Anthony, your statement given to the FBI on July 31st. Can you turn to page 43, please? I'm sorry.
They blamed it on accidental drowning, but in her new doc, she blamed everything on her dad and her family.
I would direct you to lines 21 through 25.
Okay.
Having read that, does that refresh your recollection?
Objection, Your Honor, as to what?
As to you telling law enforcement about this incident?
I don't believe he's indicated a failure of recollection. I'm sorry, speaking objection. I have an objection. I would need to explain to the bench.
Let me try and
Rephrase the question.
to move this along. Mr. Anthony, do you recall telling anyone about this gas can incident before July 31st, 2008?
Yes, because I made a report on the 24th of June.
Let me rephrase that. Since Kaylee was reported missing, did you make any statements to law enforcement prior to this,
Because I guess my confusion is, are they saying that these are the only gas tanks that the Anthonys have? Like, these are the only gas tanks. And Jose was trying to say, well, if these are the only gas tanks that you use to fill up your lawnmower, then what did you do for the weeks that you didn't have the gas tanks because they were apparently in Casey's possession? I would assume that he would have other gas tanks laying around. making too many assumptions? Did he say that those were the only 2 gas tanks that he had?
July 31st, 2008.
Maybe he said in the beginning and I missed it?
You're trying to confuse me here. Yes, you are, sir.
No, sir, I'm not.
We're talking about a gas can, you're talking about my granddaughter. So be specific with one or the other, sir, and then I'll be more than glad to get through this with you.
I'll rephrase the question.
Thank you.
You need to go to the microphone if you're gonna ask them questions.
From July 15th, 2008, that was the day you reported your granddaughter missing, right? She was reported missing on that day.
Yes.
And this statement was on July 31st, 2008.
Okay.
Do you recall making any statements about the argument with Casey prior to that?
If you're talking about what's here in the printed word about the gas cans,
That's what I'm referring to. Yes, sir. This argument, this alleged argument that you just finished testifying about for almost an hour, did you tell anybody about that before July 31st?
I'm not sure when this was exactly done, sir. I'm not sure when this deposition was taken through. You have to be specific with me, sir. Give me a date, and I'll answer.
I'm giving you a date, but my
No, sir,
listen to my question.
you are
Listen to
badgering me. You're trying to get me upset, sir.
Listen to my question.
No, wait. Mr. Anthony, did you finish answering the question, sir?
Yes, Judge, I did.
Okay, question.
Did you give law enforcement or tell anyone in law enforcement about this alleged argument before July 31st, 2008? Do you recall?
I mean, he said he called the police officers back in June when it happened.
If I may answer your question as politely as I possibly can, according to what I can see here, I did give information about the gas can and about having an argument with my daughter on the 31st of July. It's right here in printed words, sir. It's right here.
But only on the 31st? Did you do it before that?
The day you explained the argument.
Remain seated, sir. Now, do you have something to ask Mr. Baez?
Yes, sir. May the witness stand up.
Witness may stand down.
The way he said Mr.
Can you please-
Baez.
Mark on July 31st.
Was it just me? Am I the only one that says a little bit of attitude in there?
Argument
Okay,
or
guys.
date of reporting argument.
All right, we can do this. Mark the date that you talked to the police officer about the gas tanks. And did you talk to anyone before the 31st about the missing gas tanks? But after June 24th, about the gas tanks. Okay, we can do this. Come on. All right, the 31st, talk to the police officers about the gas tanks. Okay. All right, can't read that handwriting though. I have no idea. Oh, talk to the FBI. I'm sorry. Talk to the FBI about the gas tanks. Okay, keep it short, George. You're writing too much. Keep it short. Just write FBI. You're done. FBI gas. That's it. All right, George, you're wasting court time right now.
Can you please put a 1 next to the 31st so we know that that's August 1st, Friday? Little box.
Okay. He has nice handwriting. He's got really nice handwriting. Are you guys surprised?
Thank you. I haven't seen it.
He's got nice handwriting. I feel like Jose Baez can just be like, how did you mow your lawn if you had no gas because Casey had your tanks? Just ask that, Joe. I feel like he's like, he's not asking the direct questions. It feels like he's trying to trick George Anthony. Definitely better than my handwriting. Yeah, he's got nice handwriting. Oh, we got two calendars.
August 1st, when the gas cans were collected,
Okay, okay.
did you mow your lawn?
Yes, I'd purchased some other gas cans along the way.
Okay.
Did you use those gas cans?
Huh?
No, I did not.
Are you certain?
Did you use those gas cans?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give myself probably a 9.9.
Okay.
Like that answer?
And since you didn't use them, you probably didn't put any duct tape on that gas can since you mowed your lawn from the 24th to August 1st, right?
I just answered your question. I'd purchased other gas cans. I don't believe I used them after that.
Because the duct tape was only on there because the cap was missing because Casey used it, right? That's what he said. All right, got my listening eyes on.
So you wouldn't have probably put a piece of duct tape on that gas can.
Objection to speculation.
Correct.
Overruled.
Correct. Correct.
The question, sir.
Correct.
If I can reiterate here, this piece of tape that's on this can right now, I'm probably the one to put that on there prior to it being taken, because the simple fact is, I'm going to get very technical here for you. Whenever you have gas inside of a can and it gets a very fumy type thing, it could explode. So I probably put that in there when I set it aside. I'm just speculating probably what I did. You're going in an area, sir, that my life and my wife's wife.
Judge, I'm going to object to this narration and ask that it be stricken.
Overruled.
Overruled.
Mr. Anthony,
Your Honor, may the witness
Finish answering the question, sir.
My life and my wife's life, when this started for
I'm actually really surprised you overruled that. Okay.
us, we were running on fumes, going day by day,
Literally.
just trying to find my granddaughter. And some of these things that you're asking me to be specific on, I'm trying to do the best I can. Is there some things that I might not remember exactly?
Yeah, dude, no one remembers exact dates and stuff. It's really, really hard. Unless you have like a phone calendar and you have a really good organization system that like, I don't know, that organizes like what you do this day. Cause like that can help jog your memory, right? But like if you don't have any of that, for you to have to recall things that happened, like that's tough. That's really hard.
I think that happens to anyone. But when you get into this thing with you and I, sir, you're going off in a way to get me more upset, and I don't think that's fair.
Oh yeah, I know that. That's why the tape is relevant. But I'm just a little confused about how it ties together with the tank and who had possession and all that stuff. Because the thing is, they could just say that Casey had access to the shed where the duct tape was, right? During any of those time.
I'm just asking you, treat me with a little bit of respect, and you'll get respect back. That's all I'm asking.
Mr. Anthony, would you like to answer my question now?
Oof, no respect. I'm sorry. You're not going to get any respect, George.
objection to counsel's commentary.
Sustain.
Would you like
Next question.
Do you remember my question, sir?
No, sir, I do not.
Your Honor, may I ask the court reporter read back the question to the witness?
Court reporter may read the question back.
Question, so you wouldn't have probably put a piece of duct tape on that gas can?
And your answer to that question, sir?
To store that gas can in my shed after receiving it back, I would have put a small piece of duct tape on it to cover that vent hole so it wouldn't have a fumy smell inside of my shed.
And
Okay.
you just testified a moment ago that you put that piece of duct tape on that can, did you not?
I'm presumed that I'm the one to put that on there.
I think that's what he was just trying to establish, that, hey, you put the duct piece on that can. You had access to the duct piece that was found on Kaylee. However, I don't think that really proves anything because Casey could also have access to the duct tape. They all live in the same household.
Deposition, page 160, line 11 and 12.
Was he trying to prove that she didn't steal the gas tanks, the gas cans?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Just a second.
Sure.
I mean, this is a house that she basically grew up in. They bought the house in 1989, and she was born in like 86. So
Do you
she
recall
definitely
giving a
had her.
deposition on this case?
I'm sure she definitely had access to all the rooms in the house and all that stuff, unless it was like locked and she had nowhere to find the key. But like, I don't know. I'm sure she had access to it.
Sir.
I've given numerous depositions on this case.
Okay.
On August 5th, 2009.
Can you give me a location where this was held?
At the state attorney's office.
Yes, I remember that.
I was present.
Yes,
Mr. Ashton was present.
yes,
Your attorney, Brad Conway, was present.
yes,
You took an oath
yes,
to tell the truth,
yes.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Objection.
Right, a lock for outsiders,
it
but
as
family
a
members can still have access to the
Sustained,
lock. I don't know
rephrase
where
the
the
question.
key's held.
You took an oath to tell the truth, sir.
Yes,
And do you recall being asked a question by Mr. Ashton?
Same type and brand.
Now,
They
the
can
gas
approach from
can
the same
appears
roll,
to
yeah.
have a piece of duct tape on it. Do you recognize that? And do you recall giving the following answer?
Okay, we're getting more information.
I didn't put the duct tape on there.
Oh, okay. That's where
okay,
we're
we
getting
can
at.
clarify this right now. This gas
My
can,
question, sir, is, do you
Objection.
recall making
The
that
witness being
statement?
Interrupted.
Sustained. Let him answer the question. Mr. Anthony, you may answer the question, sir.
I'm trying to clarify, this gas can was taken from my residence on 2 occasions.
Okay.
The second occasion that you're referring to, that it was taken, when I had seen the photograph of it, there was a larger piece of duct tape on there. I did not put that on there, if that's what you're talking about, sir.
Okay.
I'm referring to this piece of duct tape in the image standing, that is right before you, sir.
But sir, this is not the one that I was shown on August 5th of 2009. This is not the photograph that I was shown.
There, I think there's a different photograph where it's like
If I can
zoomed
have
in,
just a
no?
moment, Judge.
George is the keeper of the duct tape in the household.
Page 163, lines 8 through 20. Sir, do you recall the first? Yes, sir.
All right?
Objection, Your Honor. Not an inconsistent statement.
Just a second.
Like how we're just staring at him.
Mr. Baez?
Mr. Baez.
It's giving the date there, Your Honor. May we approach? I
No.
think it's fairly clear.
Well, you can ask them a question about the date, but you don't need to read the deposition.
Do you recall?
Remember this image that y'all keep referring to.
Oh, true. George did say that the lock was broken. That's right. You're right. You're right. Okay. But, you know, it's possible that she had access to it with the key or she broke into it to make it seem like it was stolen. I don't know. This bitch has got to look kind of crazy sometimes, right?
It's not in evidence.
Yes, sir.
Oh, shit. He's about to get, oh my God. It's not in evidence. He's going to get lambasted. Let me bast him.
So it's kind of hard to question somebody about something that's not in evidence at this time.
At this time, yes, sir.
Oh, but it's about to be in evidence.
Proceed.
Mr. Anthony, were you not advised that this photograph that's in front of you was identified with the date
Stop. Can we approach? Hell no.
during your deposition?
Again, sir, this particular image of this particular photo was not shown to me in your presence and in the state attorney's presence on the August 5th of 2009. This was not shown to me.
Okay.
There was another photograph of a gas can that could have been this one, that was more filthy dirty because of because of powder from like fingerprints and stuff like that, and a larger piece of duct tape being on it. This is not the one that I was shown in August 5th, 2009.
Are they going to enter into evidence?
May I proceed, Judge?
You may proceed.
Do you recall being asked a question by Mr. Ashton? This photograph was taken on August 1st.
Same objection.
May I finish the question?
Approach, folks.
I want to see the sidebar so bad. Just the body language. We don't need to hear it, just the body language.
You may proceed.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anthony will return to this photograph at a later time.
Objection to counsel's editorial commentary.
Overrule. Let's proceed, gentlemen.
Now,
Okay, we're moving on. Don't worry, Jose says this will be back. This won't go anywhere.
Mr. Anthony, was it your testimony? Well, let me ask you this.
Yes,
When you gave the
Comer,
gas
yes.
cans to the police on August 1st, did the gas cans have duct tape on it?
Wait, I'm sorry. What did he say? Shit.
When you gave the gas cans, was it your testimony? Well, let me ask you this. When you gave the gas cans to the police on August 1st, did the gas cans have duct tape on it?
Again, you're asking for cans. Be specific and say a can, or give me a description, sir. I'll help you any way I can.
The cylinder gas can that you've had for 20 years, that is almost a part of you, when you gave them that gas can, did it have duct tape on it?
Well, this photograph shows it for August 1st of 2008. Yes, it shows that it's on there.
So is that your testimony today, sir?
Yes.
My question is though, why did George tell? Oh, because like there, I guess he was just trying to tell the police the interaction he's had with his daughter in the past like month or so. And then it was brought up like, oh, you know, she did steal gas from me a couple weeks back. And they're like, oh, can we have those gas cans? Like, that's probably where the dialogue went, right? Because at this time, they didn't know about the duct tape.
I refer counsel to page 210.
Hey, Warren, how are you doing today?
Lines 1 through 11. Now, Mr. Anthony, the can that you are looking at right now, that's the one that's 20 years old and is sort of a part of you.
Did y'all hear anything that I said at sidebar?
Yes, sir. I'll rephrase the question.
Okay. Let's take the jury out.
All right, to the jury.
Dude, he's like chill spicy. Look at him.
Maybe seated.
He is chill spicy. That's a new vibe for a judge right there. Chill spicy.
The can which you keep referring to as what's the exhibit number, Madam Clerk, for identification?
Your Honor.
Do not interrupt me, sir.
Oof. All right, guys, shut the fuck up. Y'all better shut the fuck up. He's talking right now.
AJ? Okay. State's exhibit AJ is not in evidence, as I said at the sidebar conference. Until it's in evidence, you can't question somebody about a photograph that is not in evidence. The only questions that you could talk about are foundational questions.
Okay.
I don't know how many times I have to tell
Yo, he about to lose it.
No. All I'm saying is move on to another area. It is not in evidence. When it goes in evidence, then you're free to question him, but the item has not been introduced. How are you going to question somebody about something that's not in evidence? You're questioning about a photograph that's not in evidence.
I would like to proffer to the court at sidebar or outside of the witness's presence how I intend on referring to this and
Sir,
how I intend on proceeding.
I am not coming to sidebar on this item now. The one thing we can do is let you proffer Mr. Lazario's testimony since I've taken the jury out at this time. As to that, Mr. Anthony, you can step down for the moment, sir.
Let's talk about this judge really quick. Let's see what the judge thinks about this trial years later. I have a couple articles that are up right now. I wanted to take some time and read it really quick. Let me zoom in really quick. Casey Anthony was more than likely the person who used too much chloroform that killed her 2-year-old daughter, the former judge who presided over the case told HLN on Thursday. Belvin Perry, retired Florida judge who is now an attorney, told HLN on the story that he thinks the death of Kaylee was a result of overdosing the child with chloroform. Yeah, that was also another method that someone theorized as well, or people theorize, which is banned in the U.S. as an anesthetic. It's quite evident that whoever did this more than likely may have been Casey, used too much chloroform, he said, pointing to high levels of chemicals in the trunk of the car. But he said he thinks the absence of evidence of AB leads to the conclusion that Kaylee's death in 2008 was purely accidental. During Anthony's trial, covered by media around the world, prosecutors alleged that she kayed Kaylee by using chloroform, covering her nose and mouth with duct tape, and that she put her body in the trunk of the car before dumping it in the woods. The defense says Kaylee drowned in the Anthony family pool in June 16, 2008, and that Casey Anthony and her father, George, covered up the death. What else did the judge say? Judge said, Casey, in the presence of the jury, was very calm, very easygoing, mild-mannered, and a very sympathetic-appearing person. When the jury wasn't in the room, she was very different. She was quite in charge, quite demanding, and quite manipulative, he said. Belvin did not fault the jury for their decisions. The former judge said that he found Anthony to have 2 different personas in court. One was that for the 12 people deciding her fate. Oh, very interesting. The jury did what the jury did, and there are various views as to how this evidence could have been perceived. Belvin said there was evidence for first-degree murder conviction, but it depended on the perspective. Look through the different lenses, he said. The evidence also supported a conviction for second-degree murder or for manslaughter. The jury could have said they didn't know what happened. Thus, there's a reasonable doubt. We don't know translates to not guilty. This is the one with 1117. This is back in November 8th. Okay, let's read this one because this, I think the judge commented on the doc that came out. The judge who presided in Casey Anthony's criminal trial isn't buying her latest explanation for the death of her daughter. Judge Belvin Perry Jr. tells TMZ he doesn't think Casey's version of events, namely that her father George was responsible for 2-year-old Kaylee's death, adds up based on what he remembers from the case. Perry Jr. thinks Casey's story hasn't been consistent and believes she was caught in a few lies that undermines her credibility. He says she blamed a babysitter for kidnapping Kaylee earlier. The judge also said there's some damning evidence, namely the smell of death inside Casey Anthony's car trunk at the time Kaylee disappeared. Judge Perry Jr., now retired from the bench, also notes that he has no hard evidence Kaylee drowned in the pool or that Kaylee's dad essayed her. Long story short, the judge also doesn't think her new story lines up with the facts of the case. Casey's detailing her blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's what the judge thinks, okay, now, but let's watch.
Return, Mr. Lazario. No.
Who gotta know?
I don't believe that Mr. Lazaro is currently here. He knows to come back. He and
Who
his-
told him to leave? I asked that he remain outside.
Uh-oh.
Your Honor, it was requested of me if they could get an early lunch. I anticipated not needing him before the lunch hour actually started, and I
Okay,
apologize.
Let me
You
make
done fucked
myself
up.
abundantly clear for this. I asked him to remain outside. The defense had requested to proffer his testimony. So don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, Mr. George is
He
just
said in his
informing me that
sultry,
he left.
low voice with a little bit of spice to it.
The state tends to introduce this photograph. You didn't at the time.
Eventually, yes, sir. When it's properly authenticated, we have a full explanation of how it came to be.
Now what? Who goes up on
My
stand?
understanding as by way of proffer is that Mr. Anthony wasn't present when his photograph was taken. So,
Mr.
Yes.
Bias, you can question about cans all day long, but you cannot question him about that particular photograph, which is not in evidence. Okay, if anybody needs to take a break, you got 5 minutes to take a break. After that, we're gonna charge on through until noon. We'll be in a 5-minute recess.
All right. Oh, George is back on the stand.
Okay, you may proceed, Mr. Bias.
Yes, sir.
No gas tanks now.
Mr. Anthony, I want to ask you a question. I want to be clear about it, so I'm going to, it's going to be a little bit of a long question. So this jury can be absolutely certain.
I'm getting hungry.
The round cylinder gas can that you have had for over 20 years, when you gave it to law enforcement on August 1st, did it have a piece of duct tape on it?
Yes.
And you're 100% certain of that?
Yes.
True, Kay.
Okay. Now
Now what?
do you recall after your granddaughter was reported missing on the 15th,
Oh, we're finally moving on.
and your daughter was arrested on the 16th, correct?
Correct.
And on the 17th, a detective came back by the name of Appy Wells came to your home. Do you recall that?
objection.
So she arrested the first time for lying to the police. So this is the woman that led the cops on a wild goose chase, saying that Zanny the nanny kidnapped her daughter, took them to an apartment that no one had lived in for a while now, took them to Orlando Studios where she claimed that she worked, walked around the workplace acting like she knew people, waved to them. They looked at her like she was like who the fuck are you type of thing, but they politely waved back. And then she went into like a dead end to like try to find where her office was. And once she got to the dead end, she was like, okay, I don't really work here. Like, how embarrassing is that? Oh God, so embarrassing.
Correct.
Who does that?
Relates to the gas can.
I'm sorry.
Sustained, that wasn't a question about a gas can,
I'm getting there.
but it wasn't a question about a gas can. Sustained.
On July 17th, 2008, did
Yeah, I feel like the jury
Mr.
gave her way too much benefit of the
Detective
doubt.
Appy Wells search your shed?
I don't remember.
Do you remember Detective Appy Wells coming to your home the day after your daughter was arrested?
No, I do not.
Do you remember Detective Wells, you giving Detective Wells a tour of your backyard?
At some time, I'm sure I did. If you're asking for a specific date, I don't remember. Again, this is when everything was happening. We had so many people around us.
Do you remember if you opened the shed where these gas cans were held at any time for Detective Wells?
not presumably him, but I know I opened the shed up within probably one of those first few days because we had the cadaver dogs at our house. We had law enforcement, media,
Very true, lady.
everywhere.
That shed where these gas cans are stored, how many shovels are in there?
Objection. Exceeds the scope of direct.
The shed has been brought up, Your Honor, and discussed during direct examination for a while.
Overruled.
How many shovels are in that shed?
3 or 4?
So you have 3 or 4 shovels in that specific shed?
Yes.
And would that these gas cans are stored in?
Yes.
You also have expensive lawn equipment, right?
Yes.
Mowers, weed eaters.
1 mower, 1. Yes, I'll agree.
When you showed the shed to the detective or whomever you showed
Hi,
it
Dahlia. What's up? How
to,
are
did you inform them of the argument that you had with your daughter on the 24th?
I probably did share that with him. I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't recall, or you probably did. Can you give us a clear
I just
answer?
told you, sir, I don't remember if I did or not. There was just a lot of things that were talked about and shown.
The first night that that your granddaughter was reported missing, you spoke with detectives, did you not?
Not on the 15th, I did not, no.
You didn't speak to Detective Melich that evening or the early morning hours of the 16th?
On the 16th, I did.
And you told him about the smell of the car that evening, did you not?
Objection. Exceeds the scope of direct.
Sustained.
Did you tell Detective Melich about the gas cans and the argument you had where your daughter wouldn't let you near the trunk of the car when you spoke with Detective Melich that evening?
Objection. Improper impeachment. I'd like to explain more at the bench.
Overruled.
I don't remember saying that to him, no.
What about the 16th? Did you talk to detectives on, I'm sorry, the 17th? Did you talk to detectives on that day?
I talked to Orange County Sheriff's detectives numerous
Thank you,
times that
Elron, for the
first
5.
week or
Thank
two.
you, thank you.
And in all of
All right,
those
chill
dates,
spices, I gotta go. See ya, no
who
one.
did you tell about this argument
I'm doing good. Thank you, thank you.
before the 31st?
Improper impeachment. And I would
Yeah,
like
thank
to
you, Elron. I really appreciate that.
Sustained.
Did you ever
Thank you
tell
for the super chat.
anyone from law enforcement prior to July 31st
Okay.
about the gas can fight with your daughter?
Objection. Improper impeachment.
Not impeaching.
This is the same question
Overruled.
you asked earlier,
Ask the
right?
question.
I probably did in some course of one of those days. Possibly I did. I don't know. I don't remember of every bit of conversation I had with law enforcement, FBI. I don't remember all those things.
So you can't recall.
Answered at least 3 times. He does not remember. He can't recall. Move to another area.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Now what,
Now-
Jose?
Mr. Anthony, you've had the opportunity to sit in the courtroom throughout all the testimony, have you not?
Yes.
In fact, you asked your lawyer to,
Mr. Baez, do not go there. Next question.
Oh my goodness.
you were specifically excluded from the rule of sequestration?
Mr. Baez, approach the sidebar.
Oh no, he's in trouble.
You may proceed.
Judge, I have no further questions of this witness at this time.
Okay, witness may stand down. You have any redirect? I do. Okay,
Yes,
you
sir.
may proceed.
Jeez, that's a tough judge. Hi, Mary. How are you doing today?
Mr. Anthony, the
We're finding that out right
gas
now.
can that Mr. Bias
Oh,
spent
he went there.
a good deal of time talking.
Hey, Mary, how's it going today? We're watching the C. Anthony trial right now. We're revisiting it because I want to see what the dad said on the stand because there's a new documentary that's out and she is blaming everything on her father. A lot of people are calling BS, and, you know, I don't really get a good vibe from her. I do want to see what he says, though. I just want to see what my feel of him is right now.
Talking to you about that you
What's up, Barry?
gave to law enforcement on August 1st. Did they give that back to you the very next day?
It could have been the next day or the day after. I'm not really sure, but it was.
What, the gas tank?
The gas can that Mr. Bias spent a good deal of time talking to you about that you gave to law enforcement on August 1st. Did they give that back to you the very next day?
It could have been the next day or the day after. I'm not really sure, but it came back fairly quickly.
Salty rider.
At the time
Is.
in July and August of 2008, did you have any idea that that gas can had anything to do with the death of your granddaughter?
No, I did not.
In December of 2008, did its importance become clear?
Objection, Justice, goes beyond the scope of cross-examination. We didn't discuss anything on the subject.
Overruled.
Could you ask
Sure.
that again, please?
In December 11th and thereafter, did the significance of that gas can become clear?
Yes.
Did you keep possession of that gas can from when they gave it back to you in August until they took it? I'm sorry, let me ask this question. Did they take it from you a second time in December?
Yes.
And did you keep that gas can in your shed along with all your other garden tools from August to December?
Yes.
On August 31st, when you mentioned to the FBI about this incident with the gas can, was that in the context of a several-hour interview about?
Overruled at this point. Let him finish answering the question. Mr. Anthony, do not answer the question until I instruct you to answer. You may
I'll
continue.
rephrase. Was the subject matter that the FBI talked to you about a very broad range of subject matters?
Is there an objection to the question as formed now?
Yes, Judge.
What is the objection?
Leading.
Overruled. You may ask the question.
Yes.
Did they ask you about everything that happened between June 16th and July 15th?
Yes.
And is it in the context of that you mentioned the incident of the 24th?
Yes.
June 24th.
Okay.
June 24th of 2008.
We need a gas
Did
can
you believe
emote.
that your granddaughter was alive and well and being cared for by your daughter?
Yes.
Did you have any reason on June 24th to suspect that your granddaughter was either dead or missing?
No.
When did you first learn that what you thought on June 24th was wrong? That in fact, she wasn't in the care of your daughter?
On June 24th, I didn't see Kaylee with Casey.
But when did you first learn that there was a possibility that on June 24th, your granddaughter was at the very least not in the care and custody of your daughter?
Through conversation I had with my daughter that someone else was watching Kaylee.
That was then.
Yes, sir.
But you still thought that your daughter was aware of where she was.
Yes.
Did you learn on July 15th that what you had thought on June 22nd, 24th was in fact not the case?
That was not the case because Kaylee wasn't with us. Kaylee was in her home.
I have just a moment.
Okay, recrosses to those issues and those issues alone.
Oh, you get a recross? Really? Oh, interesting.
You knew on June 24th that these gas cans would become an issue in this case, didn't you, sir?
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
Wait, how would he have
Not
known?
on June 24th.
Objection was sustained. Rephrase your
Wait, what was the
question.
question?
You know
What was
that
that
these
question?
gas
Sorry.
cans are a significant issue in this case, do you not, sir?
I do now.
And it was you who reported these gas cans missing on June 24th, knowing that your daughter had taken gas many times before,
Yes.
and knowing that you never even called your daughter to see if she had the gas cans.
Objection exceeds the scope of redirect and asked and answered.
Sustained as the asked and answered.
Yeah, he already asked this.
But yet you sit here today, sir, and claim that when you reported these gas cans missing on June 24th, you had absolutely no idea that you would be reporting to the police about a piece of significant evidence in this case.
Objection argumentative, asked and answered.
Overruling and answered for the last time.
On the 24th of June, 2008, I did not know that a few weeks later that my granddaughter would be reported missing.
Because I guess, like, even if, let's say that, you know, even if it was an accidental drowning and George helped cover it up, what significance would the gas tanks have to George if that happened?
If that's answering your question, sir, that's the best I got at the moment.
Despite that you haven't seen your granddaughter in 9 days and she lived with you every day, right, sir?
Argumentative, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Withdraw the question.
Okay. Witness may stand down. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Yes. State may call their next witness.
Thank you, Judge. The state would call Ricardo Morales.
And that exactly is a retired cop. You would think he would know where to hide the body better. You would think he would know that, hey, if there was an accidental drowning, it's okay to call the cops. It's okay to call the ambulance. It just does not make sense to me. Okay, so that is the second time that he goes up on stand. I think some of these are maybe like her friends. Surveillance video exhibits. Oh, this is when she goes to, I think this is like when she steals her friend's checkbook and goes shopping with it, right?